Today we're talking about a weird-looking, porous black rock that honestly doesn't look like much at all. But this stuff, called coke, isn't just a rock. It's one of the most important inventions in human history. This is the fuel that lit the fuse of the Industrial Revolution and literally built the world we're all living in today.
But to really get why it's so important, we have to start with a crisis. I want you to picture it, an 18th century world, right on the edge of inventing steam engines and railways. But it's running out of its most basic resource, wood. So how did a simple shortage of trees threaten to stop the modern world dead in its tracks? Let's find out.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick off with the crisis, the disappearing forests. Then we'll get into the brilliant invention of coke itself, see how that unlocked mass-produced iron, explore its world-changing impact, and finally, we'll look at the legacy that we're still living with today.
So, our story starts in 18th century Britain, and the country is facing a full-blown energy emergency. They were literally running out of trees, and without wood, their entire industrial future was about to just fizzle out.
I mean, just look at this number, a 700% spike in the price of firewood. After centuries of chopping down trees for ships, for buildings, for fuel, Britain's forest cover had dwindled to as low as 5%. Wood wasn't just expensive anymore. It was becoming a strategic resource, and that threatened the one industry that needed it most, making iron.
And this created a huge dilemma. See, to make strong iron, you needed charcoal, which is basically just purified wood. It burns super hot and clean. But, well, it's made from the very trees that were vanishing. The obvious alternative was coal. Britain was sitting on mountains of it. It was cheap. It was everywhere. The only problem? It was dirty, full of nasty stuff, especially sulfur.
So what's the big deal with a little sulfur? Well, when you tried to smelt iron ore using raw coal, that sulfur would just seep into the metal. And this created a totally useless product that suffered from something called hot shortness. Basically, at high temperatures, the iron would just crumble. As one person at the time put it, it became brittle like a biscuit. You can't exactly build a revolution on iron that falls apart like a cookie.
So this brings us to the invention. The guy who finally cracked this puzzle was an English iron master named Abraham Darby I. In 1708, he moves to a place called Coalbrookdale, a valley that was rich in both iron ore and, most importantly, coal. He was absolutely determined to solve this problem.
Darby's big idea was to basically give coal the charcoal treatment. He figured, hey, if you can purify wood to make charcoal, why can't you purify coal too? And the result was coke. It's what you get when you bake coal in a super hot oven without any air, which burns off all the gunk, like that nasty sulfur, and leaves behind almost pure, super concentrated carbon.
What's so amazing is how simple, yet totally revolutionary this process was. You just heat up raw coal to over 1,000 degrees Celsius without letting it actually catch fire. All those volatile impurities, the tar, the gas, and a huge chunk of that pesky sulfur, they just burn away. And what you're left with is this incredible, high-performance fuel.
And in 1709, he did it. Using some new, more powerful bellows to get the coke burning hot enough, Abraham Darby successfully smelted iron ore using only coke for fuel. This was the moment. The energy crisis suddenly had a solution, and the modern world had found its fuel.
Now let's see how this breakthrough just took off. Because Darby's invention wasn't just a simple substitute for charcoal. No, it was a massive upgrade. It completely solved the scarcity problem and unlocked a scale of production that nobody had ever seen before. This table really just says it all. You can see right here why coke was such a game changer. Look at the carbon content. Coke is almost pure carbon, giving it incredible energy. The sulfur content drops to a totally manageable level. The max temperature, 1,000 degrees hotter than charcoal. And, this is key, its physical strength is high. It wouldn't get crushed under tons of iron ore in a giant furnace.
So the bottom line is this. Coke won because it was better in every single way that mattered for industry. It burned hotter, which meant faster production. Its strength allowed for bigger, more efficient blast furnaces. Its purity meant you got high-quality, reliable iron. And it was made from coal, which was practically limitless.
And that's where the impact just becomes mind-blowing. With the ability to churn out huge quantities of cheap, strong iron, a technological chain reaction was set off that would completely remake society from the ground up.
Okay, let's look at the immediate economic impact. By 1775, the mass production of coke-smelted iron meant the price of things like cannons was literally cut in half. This not only gave Britain a massive military edge, but it suddenly made iron affordable for tons of other uses.
And you can see that military advantage right here. In 1775, a staggering 68% of all the coke iron made in the UK was being turned into weaponry. It armed the Royal Navy and fueled the expansion of the British Empire. This wasn't just an industrial revolution, it was a geopolitical one too.
But the story gets even bigger. You see, cheap iron was the essential ingredient for everything that we think of as the Industrial Revolution. You can't build a steam engine without strong, affordable iron cylinders. You can't build railroad tracks or massive iron bridges without it. Darby's invention back in 1709 was the first domino that knocked over all the others.
And here's a fantastic little twist in the story. Remember all those impurities that got burned off when making coke? Well, one of them was something called coal gas. And innovators like William Murdoch figured out how to capture this waste product and use it for lighting. By 1812, the world's first gas company was founded in London, and pretty soon, gas lamps were lighting up city streets, making them safer and transforming urban life forever.
So finally, let's talk about the legacy. Because the impact of this 18th century fuel isn't just something in a history book, it's the actual physical foundation of the world we're all in right now. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Coke didn't just solve a fuel crisis. It powered the machines, it built the railways and steamships that connected the globe, and it provided the steel for the very first skyscrapers. It was the catalyst that flipped human society from being mostly agricultural to overwhelmingly industrial. Seriously, think about it. The next time you cross a steel bridge or ride a train or work in a high-rise building, just remember that the stuff that makes it all possible has its roots in Abraham Darby's quest to turn dirty coal into a revolutionary fuel. Our entire world is built on its back.
Which leaves us with one last big question. Darby's invention solved the energy crisis of his day and unleashed this incredible wave of progress. As we face our own energy and resource challenges today, you have to wonder, what is going to be our Coke? What's the breakthrough that will unlock the next great transformation for all of us?